The Nyanga Mountains, a fortress of ancient rock and emerald forest, stand sentinel over the eastern highlands. The morning sun bleeds gold over the peaks, burning away the last traces of mist that cling to the deep valleys. From this godlike perspective, the roads are mere scribbles on a vast canvas, dark and slick from a recent rain. They are the only scars on an otherwise majestic landscape, yet they hold a silent, predatory patience. At St. Kilian's Mission School, the air is thick with the dust of competition and the shrill, joyful sounds of a school sports day. Children in crisp blue and white uniforms dash across fields, their laughter punctuating the announcements over the crackling loudspeaker. Among the whirlwind of activity is Ms. Will Stegman, her face flushed with a mixture of exertion and deep satisfaction. A newly arrived expatriate from Holland, she moves through the crowds of students, adjusting a collar here, offering a word of encouragement there. She checks her wristwatch, a delicate silver band against her skin, and a subtle, hopeful smile touches her lips. Her husband has just arrived from Holland. He is waiting for her at the school. Their reunion, after months of separation, is a tangible promise, mere hours from being fulfilled. Later, under the weakening afternoon sun, the Bronsbury service station is a hive of weary travel. A single, overloaded BNC bus groans, its suspension sighing under the weight of nearly 100 students, teachers, and their luggage. The mood is tired but cheerful, a cacophony of chatter and laughter. Ignatius Bukuta, a teenager, finds himself as a straphanger, standing in the aisle and holding onto a metal rail for support. The bus door hisses open and a concerned motorist, having observed the loading with a deepening frown, approaches the driver.
"Brother," the motorist says, his voice low and urgent, his eyes darting towards the mountain road ahead. "This road. It is not for speed. It has many teeth. Please, I beg you, be careful." The driver, a man whose movements carry a slight, unsteady swagger, turns his head. The scent of diesel fuel mixes with the sharp, unmistakable tang of alcohol on his breath. He brushes off the concern with a dismissive wave of his hand. "We are late. Don't worry yourself," he slurs, before climbing back into his seat with the solemnity of a king returning to a flawed and unsteady throne. Inside the bus, as it lurches forward, the initial cheer begins to erode. The vehicle picks up speed too quickly, its body swaying dangerously on the winding ascent into the mountains. The lush green scenery becomes a dizzying blur outside the windows. Nervous murmurs ripple through the student body. "Sir," a brave voice calls out from the back, "please, can we slow down?" The driver merely grunts, gripping the wheel tighter. The pleas grow more frequent, more desperate. "Driver, we are feeling sick. Please, stop for a while." Ignatius later recalled the growing fear. "We continuously pleaded with him to stop for recess, but he turned a deaf ear." Finally, at a place known as Nyanga View, the bus screeches to a halt. The overlook offers a spectacular panorama, the sky ablaze with the fiery oranges and deep purples of sunset. It is a moment of breathtaking, false peace. Students spill out, gasping in the cool air, but the driver remains impatient, tapping his fingers on the steering wheel. He does not see the beauty, he only sees the clock, the lost time. Back inside, as full darkness envelops the world, the bus becomes a cocoon of light hurtling through an abyss. Most of the children, exhausted by the day's events and the relentless motion, have fallen into a troubled sleep. Ignatius's friend, Timothy Sagwitza, grins wearily up at him from a seat. "Come, sit, Ignatius," Timothy says, his voice heavy with fatigue but his eyes kind. "Don't worry. If we die, we'll make headlines." It was a macabre joke, a teenager's bravado in the face of a primal fear. With a sigh of gratitude, Ignatius reluctantly takes the offered seat. It is then that the world changes. The engine's pitch shifts violently, a low, powerful roar becomes a high-pitched, screaming whine. The bus gains terrifying speed, hurtling downhill with a nauseating, unchecked momentum. Ignatius's eyes widen in the semi-darkness, He feels a terrifying lightness, a complete absence of resistance. The brakes have failed. To me, Ignatius would later say, death was written all over. Driven by a primal instinct for survival, he dives from the seat, scrambling under a three-seater bench. He wraps his hands around the cold, unyielding metal legs of another seat, anchoring himself to the very frame of the machine that was about to become their tomb. Through the driver's eyes, the world narrows to a tunnel of horror. The headlights slice through the darkness, illuminating a sharp, left-hand curve. The steel guardrail rushes towards the windshield, no longer a protector but a weapon. His eyes, wide with a final, sobering terror, are the last thing we see before. The sound is apocalyptic, a symphony of tearing metal, shattering glass, and a single, unified cry from dozens of throats, which is instantly and brutally silenced. The bus shears a milepost, slams into a concrete embankment, and the roof is peeled back like a tin can by the unyielding forces of physics. The world turns over, and over, and over, dragging its human cargo across the unyielding, abrasive tarmac. Silence. Then, a low, guttural moan. Then a piercing scream that trips through the cold mountain air. Then a chorus of agony and confusion rising from the wreckage. The bus is now a corpse of twisted steel. Bodies and belongings are strewn around it in a grotesque tableau. Ignatius crawls out from his metal womb, miraculously whole. He stands, swaying, in a nightmare made real. The scene is lit by the bus's one remaining headlight, casting long, dancing shadows that make the carnage seem alive and moving. He sees his classmates, his teachers. He sees Ms. Stegman. None are as they were hours before. The sharp, coppery smell of blood, mixed with the acrid stench of fuel, fills his nostrils, a smell he would never forget. Blood was flowing all over, Ignatius recalled, and watching my colleagues dying drove me into action. He stumbles away from the wreck, his legs carrying him on a desperate, automated mission. He reaches a nearby village, his fists pounding on doors, his voice raw as he throws stones at darkened windows. "Help. Please, help us," he screams into the sleeping night. There has been an accident. People are dying. But closed doors and silence greet his pleas. The world is asleep, oblivious to the hull just meters away. The courage that had propelled him this far vanishes, replaced by a crushing sense of isolation and failure. He cannot bring himself to return to that hellscape. He sinks to his knees in the darkness, utterly alone, the echoes of the dying his only companions. The morning light that breaks over the Regina Caeli school is cruel in its pristine beauty. A man stands alone at the school gates, Ms. Stegman's husband. His face, once filled with the eager anticipation of a long-awaited reunion, is now a mask of confused dread. An official car, somber and slow, approaches. He straightens his posture, a futile gesture of hope. He doesn't need to be told the words. The grim faces of the officials, the profound and pitying silence that surrounds them, speaks the truth he already knows in his soul. When the third term begins in September, Ignatius Bukuta walks into his dormitory. It is no longer a place of camaraderie and noise, of shared secrets and laughter. It is a cavern of ghosts. Empty beds stand as tombstones, each one a silent eulogy to a friend lost. The silence is a physical weight, pressing down on him. His nightmare was not over, it had simply found a new, permanent home. Time has passed. The camera of memory now slowly pans across a stone plaque in a local church. 89 names are engraved there, each one a story cut short. The names of children, who would now be in their late 40s. The names of teachers, their lessons left unfinished. Among them, one name stands as a testament to a joy that never was, Will Stegman.